Good morning again. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be discussing coronavirus economy today. It is a webinar with Steve Barth, who I'm going to introduce in a second. This is presented, and I am very honored to be helping with this Zoom this morning by the Souderton Business Improvement District. And we wanted to bring Steve on because he has a wealth of knowledge working with not only businesses, but boroughs and townships and building economy. So Steve Barth is president of Barth Consulting Group, BCG, a boutique downtown revitalization consulting firm. Barth Consulting Group guides downtown revitalization and visioning for communities. Over the past 10 years, BCG has created over 5 million of new investment, opened over 350 plus new businesses, and created over 2,000 new jobs. BCG has helped secure millions of grant funding for small town revitalization. BCG has worked with the following communities to revitalize their downtown: Percy Borough, Borough of Collegeville, New Britain Borough, Main Street Hatboro, and New Hope Borough. In addition, Barth Consulting Group works with individual businesses, retailers, developers, colleges, and corporations, providing innovative solutions to complex problems. And as promised, if you do have a specific need that you would like to get in touch with him with, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, it's under Barth Consulting Group. His website blog is barthconsultinggroup.com/blog. And then his website is barthconsultinggroup.com. So without further ado, Steve, I would like to turn it over to you.
Welcome this morning, and thank you for having me come and speak to you and your community. My firm, Barth Consulting Group, we revitalize downtowns, and we've worked at, over the past 10 years, envisioning and helping communities, create vibrant downtowns, open new businesses, help with small businesses with their finance and business plans. We have created over 500 million. It wasn't 5 million of new investments. So some of the things that I would like to talk to everyone about today, and this is I just want to acknowledge, it's a very stressful and difficult time for all of us. This virus pandemic has impacted everyone's lives and businesses and communities. And, it is stressful. I think people are at the breaking point, and, reopening is uncertain. And I wanted to provide some opportunities today where I think not only in your personal finances, but just in your business finances and community finances, ways that you can begin and do things that will create real revenues. I think the federal government had created the stimulus package, which very well intentioned, but I think on the scale of the Treasury talking about small business, like their view of a small business is somebody with like 100 employees. Their small business is not the mom and pop shops normally found in small towns. So I think part of what I want to talk about today is us creating our own luck and creating, there are opportunities for things that we can do today, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So the first thing I wanted to chat about was just personal finances, that, there are opportunities in the banks and organizations where you have car payments and things. Most of these organizations will defer mortgage payments, loan payments, utility payments. And so I think, first recommendation would be, looking to those businesses, your insurance company, et cetera. Are there ways that they can help you and your family today? And most of them are willing to do that without any penalty or effect on your credit ratings. And typically what they'll do is, with say your mortgage payment, they can defer them for 4 months and simply add them on to the end of your mortgages. And then just getting into the business financing, some of this, really key things for small retailers are these rent deferments. So if you rent your facility or you own your facility, your landlord, there's a program through the banks. It's not part of the stimulus, but it's related to that. And it's a hardship loan, COVID-19 loan modification. And what that does is, say somebody that owns the shopping center, that they can defer their mortgage or loan payments for up to 4 months and in turn pass the deferment on to the tenants. And even though it's not a forgiveness of that, it's still, in the immediate moment allows you, to take a little pressure off your business. And so the towns that we work in, we had talked to all the commercial property owners, and almost all of them were willing to participate in this. So if you haven't spoken to your commercial people, I'd recommend that. And the loans, the payments are not forgiven, but, some of them were doing things in different ways that they, once businesses are able to reopen, they would tack on, just say, for example, $200 extra a month to your payment, or, that you'd have 6 months where those deferrals would start coming due. One of the other things, I think, same sort of thing with your utilities and other expenses that you might have. And if you have business loans, if you call your bank managers, they, particularly at this time, are willing to keep good customers. And they, again, can also defer some of those ongoing monthly expenses that you have. One of the other recommendations, and this is related to credit cards, a lot of the small businesses we work with, we see them using their credit cards to pay bills, and that's very understandable. But I would also recommend, talking to your bank about credit lines if you don't have one. The reason being that the interest rates on the credit lines are typically lower than interest rates on credit cards. One of the companies we had talked to, they, their credit card rate was something like 24.9%, which, creates a real hardship that your interest payment is almost impossible to pay it down, where the credit lines, depending on your banks, they can be anywhere from like 6 to 8%.